Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forward Science Forever. Today, I have a 3v3 ladder match here on the most amazing Nukes map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players. Starting off with Team 1 in the northwest and name with Team 2 in the southeast. Starting off with Team 1's Western player, we have in Stitch Blue, it is Hannibal playing as a Seraphim. He is a 16-11 rated player, the highest rated player on Team 1. To his northeast in Royal Blue, it is It's Not Me. Well, it is him, but his name is It's Not Me. He is an Aeon. He is a 1482 rated. Into the southeast, we have in Amethyst Purple the UEF player of Joker playing as a 1528 rated. So for Team 1 side of the map, or blue team, it is 1 UEF, 1 Aeon, and 1 Seraphim. No Cyber Tech for Team 1. Starting off with Team 2 Southwestern player, we have in Ruby Red, it is Eco Player 7 playing as a UEF. He is a 1780 rated player, the highest rated player on Team 2 and in the game. Overall, to his northeast, we have in Chevy Crimson, it is Chenbro 101 playing as a Cybran. He is a 1320 rated. And next door to him, his Cybran compatriot, it is Sailor Moon in Orange, the color orange, as 1516 rated. So for Team 2 or red team side of the map, they have 2 Cybrans and 1 UEF. No Aeon, no Seraphim Tech for Team 2. Almost said Cybran there. And as a reminder, Team 1 lacks only the Cybran technology. And for the 6 players on the map, let's take a look at the reclaim situation. Currently sitting at 18,000 mass in reclaim. That makes it 3,000 mass per player, and double of that, at least a little bit more than that, is in this little narrow neck of land here where that 7,000 heaping amount of reclaim is located. So I would assume at least 1, if not 2 players for each team will probably head off in that direction. There is a decent amount of reclaim on this northeastern shore over here, as well as a couple of hundreds, thousands or so on the western and southern edges of the map, which we already see Eco Player going to at least that southern side as well. Taking a look at the mechs locations here for Team 1 and Team 2. There is a decent amount of mexes on the western and southern edges of the map where some of that reclaim I mentioned was located. There is a 5-star mex position here for Team 1's Joker, as well as another 5-star and another 5-star. That looks, actually, that's the main base, of Annabelle. So there's a 5-star mix position northwest of his main base, and there's a couple of one-off mixes to the east of Joker's position, with a couple of mixes in the middle, which probably will just go to 1 player. I wouldn't be surprised if it's really, Team 1 sitting here, Team 2 sitting here, kind of just staring at one another. They're definitely going to be fighting over at least a little narrow neck of land. Team 1 will have a slight advantage over Team 2 in the early game due to the fact that both It's Not Me and Hannibal have hover tech units. Team 2, at least at Team 1 stage. Team 2 does not at Team 1 phase. So if any sort of raids are inbound, I wouldn't be surprised to see It's Not Me maybe send some Aeon forces probably eastward. Maybe he'll send them that way. But it does look like everybody on Team 1 is heading to the 7,000 plus reclaim field. It's Hannibal in the lead with Joker in second place, and It's Not Me trailing behind him. On the eastern side, we are seeing Sailor Moon unopposed over here. There is, again, that clump of reclaim over here. Engineers are inbound to scoop it up, but I wouldn't be surprised if Sailor Moon kind of just hop, skips, and a jump over there to try to beat those engineers to it. And there is a T1 PD emplacement immediately built by It's Not Me, dropping a second one. This will force Chenbro to fall back. He will not be able to face that amount of firepower. Overcharge actually kills off the first Team 1 max. Sorry, Team 1 PD, not Team 1 max, and Chenbro will be forced back, drops almost half of his hit points, actually does drop half of his hit points, and first come action will occur between Hannibal and Chenbro. This map, due to the land constrictions on the map, I would not be surprised if players go for more longer range technology, whether that's nukes, artilleries, game enders, those longer advantageous items to have in the game. It's just, I wouldn't be surprised. Probably a lot of eco, especially with the reclaim for each of the players to, again, try to get to T3 as soon as possible. A couple of Team 1 bombers over the top, really trying to force back Joker, and, of course, It's Not Me's forces. Team 1 AA spammed up as well to deal with those bombers. Most of the engineers have been wiped out, but Hannibal and Joker are here, and now It's Not Me is going to assist. So there's 3 players for Team 1. Everybody is right here for Team 1. We do see Team 2's Eco player making a clockwise manner around the southern pond. And I would not be surprised to see Shenbro go for maybe a gun upgrade on board, maybe spam up Nano to try to save or at least regen those hit points and not be killed off immediately when he walks out and says hi to his opponents. Northeastern side, Sailor Moon has made, again, a little bit of progress. Some of that reclaim was scooped up for Team 1. It looks like he'll get a little bit more of it for Team 2, but generally it does look like Team 1 got their fair share of that. In terms of total reclaim, Team 1 at 7,000, Team 2 at 4.2. So yes, definitely get a lion's share of the reclaim totally. T2 started here for Joker, going to establish the central point on the map for themselves and trying to lock out Team 2 of any sort of land incursions westward, at least from the middle of the map. We could see them go all the way around, but I don't really see that being the case. There are a couple of T1 possible mexes up here in the southwestern upper plateau, but again, they're far removed from really anything else going on in the map. So yeah, it'll be a nice, 2-4 mass per second, and then they can upgrade it probably about 12 if they just go for the T2 mexes not ringed. But I am surprised that nobody's tried to go for that. Again, it is pretty isolated, so I mean, even if it's just T1s, it's better than nothing. We do see T2 almost done here for Joker, Gun almost done here for Eco player. Sailor Moon still not really being opposed by at least a comm directly. We see a lot of T1 forces as well as a couple of T1 PD stacked up, in line waiting for Sailor Moon to move in. But Sailor Moon is probably just going to hang out. Looks like he's going to go for a naval facility and go for a couple of frigates. He could go for Salem's and just walk them across the map. That would be very interesting to see that. There are some ponds here. I am surprised Team 2 hasn't dipped into Navy as of yet in the southern pond. Same thing here for Team 1 on the western side of things. There are a couple of Team 1 strikers having some fun. 3 of them wiped out by the nice little AoE bomb there. And Gun almost done for Joker's commander. In the middle, looks like Joker's going to be the frontline player for Team 1 with, of course, It's Not Me and Hannibal taking a little bit more of the back seat. T2 air started here and done for It's Not Me. T2 land done for Hannibal. Nothing online as of yet for Joker, but again, I would not be surprised to see. Actually, no, T2 land is almost done here for him, so there you go. T2 air actually started for Sailor Moon and done. T2 air also done for Shenbro, and T2 land done for EcoPlay. Maybe they'll build some Sparkies out of that facility, maybe not, but one can dream. Gun upgrade of EcoPlayer moving in. Again, Joker has Gun as well, so it is a UEF versus UEF affair. He does have 2,000 additional hit points due to the T2 upgrade on board. We do see Hannibal trying to lock off any sort of incursion from Team 2 on the western edge of the map. We'll see if that actually works. Again, it does put him in a not great position maneuverability-wise, but he does have that pond to hide in, so there is that backup plan just in case. And still going for frigates. Not surprised he isn't going for Salem's or any sort of, T2 tech yet for that extra range to deal with the T1 PD. Eco player continuing to just poke and prod at Joker's forces. It's Not Me hanging out, going for a nice little radar system here to get some more intelligence gathering here for Team 1. We do see Eco player starting to be a little bit surrounded by some strikers and other Team 1 forces, but he does have his own, and again, that just gives him more veterancy, and that will help scale his hit points without having an upgrade in terms of T2 on board. We do see some units inbound from the east from him as well, and we do see Gun starting here for Shenbro also. So, and Gun starting here for Sailor Moon in the north, and it's almost done. Maybe he'll go for stealth immediately after that. Maybe he'll just not do any other upgrade. Oh, he's going to go for stealth. There we go. T2 Navy still not starting here for Team 1, and Team 2's Eco player going for Shield Field. Now, I do rag on the field shield upgrade, or the shield field upgrade, or the bubble shield, as I usually call it. Again, it's not my favorite. It is cheaper than the more traditional personal shield that UEF and other comms can get. But it is nice to be able to protect units nearby. I just feel like for Team 1s, it's probably not worth it. We are seeing some parashields inbound for him as well, and these have 3,000 hit points in terms of shielding, and Eco player will get 5,000 for his shield. So I think it's a little bit bigger of a shield, but not by much. And again, I just don't think it's worth the hit point additional. Rather just build a couple of parashields and call it a day. Nano repair started for Hannibal. He has Gun on board on the western side. We could see a counterattack form from Team 1 against Team 2's Eco player and try to kill him off, because, again, that's just a pincer maneuver waiting to happen over there. Stealth started on board Shenbro's comm, getting some engineers to just look at him do that. And, of course, he has gun on board already. We do see Sailor Moon pushing in against the stealth upgrade. Will be very, very useful in hiding his approach, at least a little bit. Team 1 has to get some vision on board, at least an Omni or something, to be able to see him on that approach. We do see one of those PD emplacements are dead. The second one is about to fall. The range, of course, giving him a nice wide berth to deal with it. He is walking into range of Team 1 PD, so I don't know why he's moving that quickly. And we do see the Team 1 stationary forces now not stationary anymore. Sailor Moon at 1-star veterancy and climbing. Needs to get in the water at least a little bit to hide. Probably should have gone for that nano upgrade, but he is getting veterancy nonetheless, so that is helping him with that regen anyways. We do see a couple of Ilshis running around for It's Not Me, but it is Hannibalo. And Joker and It's Not Me are falling back. Hannibalo still being on the front lines. He has regen field as well as nano and gun on board versus the shield upgrade nano and gun of Eco players. So he did go for nano. He doesn't have a shield on board, which makes me think he does not have power, which would be correct. And Sailor Moon in the east has now dropped into the water. We do see some hover tech forces trying to deal with the frigates from Team 2 Sailor Moon. Does look like Sailor Moon is dealt with most of those Team 1 defenders. T2 moving in to replace them. And we have a T2 radar system built for Joker. T3 air done for Team 1. T3 not. Oh, is done for Team 2's Shenbro. And T3 air maybe will be built by Sailor Moon. I mean, he's already built T2 air and T2 Navy now. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for T3. Again, the map constraints due to land kind of forces the game into more of a air hover territory rather than just straight land. Again, experimentals will definitely be used, but more mainline units, at least for some players, will kind of be off to the sidelines for a little bit. We do see Eco player has the shield online. Again, 5,000. It's a tiny bit bigger than the parashield. And again, 3,000 hit points for the shield capacity. Again, I'm not a fan of it, in my personal opinion, but I do understand every upgrade has a use case. I mean, there's the torpedo upgrade that the Sirens can get that literally can only be used in the water. So there's that. We do see this force of Eco player moving in to intercept. Team 1's comms have fled the scene, which means this attack will go down pretty much without a hitch. He will lose his forces, of course, but it will knock out a frontline facility for Team 1. We do see Hannibalo moving eastward. He's not going to catch up to his Ilshis. His Ilshis have to fall back, because once Eco player comes into range, those things will be ripped apart. Not super quickly, but the regen field won't be useful because those units will be dead by the time he gets there. One of them, of course, one tapped by that overcharge. And now the running over of Team 2's western side will commence. Transport knocked out of the sky before it can drop off engineers, it looks like. ASF stacking up quite nicely for Team 1. Team 2 will lose the air fight, but again, being up by 6, half a dozen or so, ASFs isn't a crazy amount to be ahead. It's mainly the 25, 50, 75 that's really concerned. Eco player at 3-star veterancy now, getting more and more tanky, trying to rival the Seraphim tanky comms. But he's producing, again, no shield on board, but 80 hit points a second regen versus 68 for his hull plating and 60 for his shield. Once that does, of course, collapse, he'll have to wait for it to fully charge before he can use it again. The one downside with personal or whatever other shields on board of commanders and other things as well, but that's just kind of the nature of the beast of that regard. Nano and Dun gun for Shenbro in the middle, moving in to assist his teammate and secure said middle of the map. Team 1 has a couple of conga line T3 Althams moving in to assist, but again, I don't think it's going to do that much work. Hannibalo still trying to catch up to his forces. T2 PD will at least slow down Eco player's assault, at least for a tiny smidgen of time. And that will keep those units alive just a little bit longer. Eco player still has his shield online, 1,000 hit points and falling. And there goes the shield. It is down. He'll have to wait until it is completely regen to be reactivated. That is the one benefit of having a lower capacity shield, is that it quote-unquote recharges faster because it has less to recharge. But Autumn's assisting the Ilshis will force back Eco player. Not looking too hot for either of these players, but again, 86 hit points a second versus 68. They can regen pretty quickly, considering. And nothing else really crazy. Team 2 getting a little bit more momentum in the west. We do see that Joker has shifted eastward, moving in to deal with Salem Moon's facilities. T2 Salem facility is online. Looks like he went for a decent amount of cruisers first and now going for destroyers. Team 2 hover spam is in full swing for Joker, which will help a little bit in dealing with these frigates and destroyers. But again, the damage that they do is not great individually. They come more in the versatile, hover tech department is really what they're designed to do, is be able to traverse a lot more environments like water. And in the west, still attacks are raging between Eco Player. His shield regen charged again, not faster, but just it was online faster because he just didn't have much. Anyway, Eco Player still trying to drive back Team 1 overcharges, doing as much as they can, getting a little bit of AoE on a couple of those Othams. And the regen field will help out a little bit in keeping those tanks alive just a smidgen longer. We do see some Riptides online for Eco Player. He's going to shift westward, ignoring this little tiny fire base that's online down here. He's currently actually dealing with that with a couple of Flapjacks. Definitely a good use of tech there. Just put a couple of there. They'll fire missiles infinitely, and they'll deal with pretty much everything there until TMD is built, which there is a T2 facility, so engineers and T2 tech can be built, but unless Hannibal notices that, I don't think they'll be built in time. Trades still going on now between Shenbro and Hannibal. It's 86 regen versus 78 regen, so a little bit in favor of Team 1. Nothing too crazy. We do see those Riptides have now made it to land and are now fanning out to deal with all of the mexes on the western side. Team 1 at 580. Team 2 at 530, so about 50 mass in favor for Team 1. And that is a little bit of a concern, but I mean, percentage-wise, it's not crazy, and it does look like Team 2 had a boost in mass, whether it be power or T3 mechs related. AZ War Sniping says, it's not me. I have 16 torp. Wow. Okay, well, that is a snipe waiting to happen. So it looks like Team 2 might lose the first player of the game to Torp Bombers. And there are some torpedo-capable units moving in to deal with Shenbro. And at this point, either he dies to torpedoes or he dies to units, unless Team 1 pulls back. We do see those Riptides have made it closer in to Hannibal's base. And those torpedoes actually not going for the kill. They're just going to let the Othams take care of it. It looks like maybe they're going to go after Sailor Moon in the water if they know where he is. They don't know where he is currently, but once they find him, I wouldn't be surprised if they target him immediately. And Shenbro still trying to get out of range of those Othams. We have Ilshi chasing him down on the shoreline here, and I don't think he's going anywhere. Team 1 wants a kill to drop the game below, to 3v2 instead of 3v3. It is 20 minutes, though, so everybody didn't make it past 20 minutes, so that is something at least. Torpedoes inbound to the eastern side going after those naval units, and now we have Shenbro Brack out of the water. He's going to dip back underneath the surface to try to hide a tiny bit longer. Does get a veterancy there that will keep him alive a tiny bit longer, so lucky there. And all of the Othams are targeting the T2 engineers that are on the little cliffside over here, ignoring the comm. So that'll be a stroke of good luck here for Shenbro, and he's going to try to make it back over here. We do see Hannibal is roughly over here. Oh, he's going to go back. He has some assisting forces from his teammate, distracting a little bit of those Othams. But again, has to be careful. Is it worth the risk or not? I don't know. Looks like they're targeting the AA units. That's definitely a good idea to bring in some T2 or Team 1 bombers or fighter bombers to assist. ASF stacking up quite nicely for Team 2. Same with Team 1. But again, those Torp bombers are a little bit scary for anybody in the water for Team 2. And there we go, Shenbro back at it against the Othams. We have Eco Player coming in to assist on the shoreline, on the cliffside here. Overcharge kills off another unit, gets another set of veterancy back up into the yellow, and then immediately back into the red. And I don't think he should have come back here. That will be the first kill here for Team 1, dropping this game to an official 3v2. Like I said, I think he should have just retreated, gone back to maybe at least this position. There was, a couple of stuff being built, and maybe stacked up with a couple of Perseus or whatnot to help. But that is going to be a kill here, like I said, for Team 1. It drops this game to a 3v2. And there is a nano repair started here for Sailor Moon's comm in the water. And again, there is a danger of him being sniped by torpedoes. This amount isn't super crazy, but if Team 1 goes for solaces, that's a kill for sure. We do see Hannah Below and Eco Player kind of staring down one another. Hannah Below did come back to finish off Shinbro if his forces did not. And he does finish an experimental. He is Seraphim, so unless he get other technology, it is a Yothotha. Nice little chicken walker walking around. Are there any Colossi being built or Fat Boys? Nope for Team 1. Team 2 building any Monkey Lords or Fat Boys or Crabs? No, no, and no. So no experimentals yet at this point in the game. We'll see if anybody else on Team 2 builds something here soon. T2 radar system in the middle of the map, upgrading to T3. Again, that is in the middle of the map, pretty close to Team 2's main basis. That'll provide a whole ton of information for them. We do see those Flapjacks still getting value, going after Autumns that have now moved. And that little fire base was wiped out by said Flapjack. So definitely worth their value. Some of them are vetted up. Let's see. 4-star vet and 4-star vet. So those two, I guess, are the originals, and the other two came to assist. And we do see the Yothotha going to move in and intercept the group of Conga Line forces moving in from Team 2. And again, this is the downside with a map like this, is it constricts land, and it makes it very easy to essentially counter it if you have stuff in place, or just due to the fact that if you have AoE weapons, because units are closer to each other, it makes those AoE weapons even more valuable, considering the chicken weapons specifically have AoE weapons for 2 of their 3 weapon-based systems. The secondary fire and the tertiary fire. That slow little ball will hit the... Nope, barely missed. Actually, no, it did actually hit the Percy. But that is a dead amount of units. A little bit of reclaim for Team 1. Team 1 at 920. Team 2 at 770 mass income. So Team 1 is starting to break away from Team 2's amount of income. Let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win this game at 24 minutes and 12 seconds. Thank you so much for watching to this point in the video. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of it. And thank you to each and every single one of you for commenting on every video. I really appreciate it, especially with the new idea of doing essentially clipping in of a death if I do miss it. So I do appreciate that. Again, trying to fine tune it, and I am able to do that with your assistance. So thank you so much for that. I don't know if it'll happen. Usually it usually happens at bigger numbered player games, but it still happens from time to time. Even in a 3v3 it could possibly happen. So no jinxing myself yet, but there is I'm not trying to be overconfident by me tracking 6 players. I can sometimes not track 2 players. Sometimes there is that chicken, and it's going to storm back and try to claim this territory for Team 1 once again. The comm has gone back to base. There are a couple of Percys here. I don't know if this is enough to kill off the chicken, but it definitely will damage it considerably. There are more being built all the time, and I feel like maybe they should have waited a tiny bit longer. There's a lot of spam units to distract these Percys. One of the things to do to, again, try to deal with Percys is exactly what's happening. You have the unit that you really want to keep alive and do the damage, be the chicken as an example. Use these Riptides or whatever other annoying unit, whether usually lower tech, usually spammable, to target the Percys. And again, the Percys will usually auto-attack whatever's in front of them or closer to them, so it makes it easier to deal with them. Unless your opponent is microing, then that's a different story, but then you have a bunch of other units helping you out. So the only thing I would add to this little army would be some AA. Again, the chicken AA isn't bad for a couple of gunships or Team 1 bombers, but anything more than that, and it's just not great. We do see a couple of Ravagers have been built, more of them online, but I think the chicken has it. If the comm was here, the chicken would be dead for sure. It does have 2-star vet. It is working on its 3rd. We do see some gunships inbound. They are whalers, so decently good at taking out ground units. We do see some Percys getting in behind the chicken, and looks like, Percy's redirected onto the Autumns. That's unfortunate, but the chicken is now dead, and Team 2 will retain at least some of what they had, but they lose a lot of forces in the interim. We do see the invasion in the north has commenced, and there she is. All of those Salems assisted by brick forces are inbound, and Team 1 getting T2 artillery online immediately, trying to get some more shielding. Percys are a good unit to counter the Salems. They just have to get to their target. 2 shots will drop it almost below 50%. So essentially, if you want to one tap them, you want 5, I believe, if I can do math. But of course, there are a couple of cruisers helping out with bombarding said Perseus that are inbound. And there's a lot of income T3 units. Team 2 is running out of stuff, so it might just end up being that Team 2 just does not have enough to push. We do see a couple of shockers online, some T3 strat bombers, as well as a couple of T2 gunships. So Team 1 possibly trying to snipe a comm or structure or whatever on land. And again, they do have some capability for torpedoes unless they... No, they're right there. So they still have those just in case they want to use them. In terms of T3 long-range tech, nukes or artillery, none exists so far. We do see a nuclear started for Sailor Moon. No SMDs as of yet, which is a little concerning. It's not terribly concerning, but it is a little bit. Team 1 has another Yothotha being produced. They have their own SMD. It does cover the middle of their territory, so I think you could probably clip, I would assume you can clip a little bit of Hannibalo and Joker's base, but you have to be careful just because a little bit of that arc when it comes down, you want to make sure you don't strike it maybe like right here on the edge and it curves and it goes right in and that SMD can fire. So definitely concerned. But Team 1's Joker out in the middle of fighting off Team 2's invasion, gets sniped by some gunships. Nice job by Sailor Moon. Of course, all of them will get wiped out before they can do anything else, but they did kill off a player for Team 1. They even it back out before 30 minutes, so it is now a 2v2 tied up game once more at 28.5 minutes. That does, of course, give another base to somebody on Team 1. Looks like it goes to Hannibal. Team 2's Eco player was the one that inherited the majority of Shenbro's stuff. So it's 640 income and 540 for Team 1 individually, and Team 2 it's 520 and 400. Total mass, Team 1 1.2, Team 2 913, 919, 9 whatever number is ticking up and down. So again, still in favor of Team 1 at a minimum of 250, if not close to maybe 300, given Team 2 is kind of in the low 900s. We do see another chicken inbound, but there's more Perseus here than there were last time. There's not as many distraction units as there were last time, so that chicken will most likely die. The first one still has not been reclaimed, which is, I feel like, definitely an oversight. But the chicken getting a little bit of value out of the AoE splash weapons on board, and those Perseus still being distracted by other units, so that is keeping that chicken alive just a tiny bit longer. Not that many Ravagers still built in this base, and again, some of them were already wiped out anyways. Whalers moving into intercept, it looks like said Yothotha. And there is a FAF war online. It's slowly making its way in. And I would not be surprised if Team 2 tries to use the gunships as a little way to goad Team 1's ASFs to move in. They could respond if Team 2 sees them in time, and they know where they are. So it's not like they're going to be surprised by it. The chicken will retreat. We do see Hannibal moving in to try to keep it alive just a tiny smidgen longer. All of the Perseus are dead, but the chicken does die anyways. A little bit closer to Team 1's territory, but again, not by much. Still think this chicken and that chicken should be reclaimed immediately. And I forget who mentioned this to me, but I think it was a week ago or so, that the chicken no longer has friendly fire damage. That was more of a recent update. Recent being last 3-ish, 4-ish months. So just to note that if you're standing next to it and it's yours, you won't die from it. So that's good to know. But we do see some Fortresses walking into the Ion Storm unnecessarily, and yeah, not super great. It's gone now, but he did lose a couple of more assisting forces in the shields and AA department. Couple of bricks trying to stop the counter land invasion, or soon to be naval invasion. We do see a nice little GC online, 99,999 hit points. Again, one of the things that I try to lobby whenever I do remember about it is just give the GC just one more HP. Just do it. I know, I think it's just a meme at this point that it's 99,999, not 100,000. But come on, just one hit point. Come on, what will one hit point do? Come on. I'm lobbying for a GC getting 1 HP. That's it. That's the things I focus on. Not, that and a rewind button. Those two things, in terms of replays, those are the two things I probably want more. I mean, functionally, I'd rather have the rewind button, but meme-wise, I'd probably want the 1 HP for the GC. GC forcing back the naval fleet a little bit, but again, there are some torpedo weapons not only on board the naval vessels, but also on the bricks. So staying here in the water long term, not viable, but I do like what the GC is kind of trying to do, which is stay above water and laser everything on land. The only downside, though, is it makes it a lot easier for the naval fleet to actually hit said GC. So, again, there's an advantage and disadvantage. But airfight happens over the southwest. Fat Boy is dead. Strap bombers go and snipe that Fat Boy. I don't think they needed to do that, but they do it anyways. And some of the bombers do make it home. Team 2 loses all of their ASFs, and that is going to be, I think, 100 ASFs more for Team 1. Almost. We do see some gunships inbound to the east to try to deal with said GC. The ASFs will kill off all said. And actually, no, the cruisers actually shoo away the ASFs. They probably could have wiped out the gunships and kind of called it a day. Yeah, they would have ticked some mosses, but that would have been an elimination there. And that GC maybe could have killed somebody off. I think Sailor Moon's coming down to the water, try to overcharge it. His forces deal with that before he can, but I think the headquarters was the target of the GC anyways. Second Fat Boy is dead. This time the chicken killed it. Is that chicken going to stop? It drops to 6,000 hit points. Percy's staying online. If it gets a veterancy, no, it will not. That Percy almost KS'd it from that other Percy that did the damage. And more it's kill secure, not kill steal, but you know, there are other games where kill stealing is actually a problem. I have played one of those games, haven't played it in a while, but you know, I think most people know which one I'm talking about. Oh, nice value out of that strap bomber, killing off a ton of Vipers. That bomber will be knocked out of the sky, unfortunately, but at a minimum, it wiped out a ton of firepower. It looks like the Omni is the target. Some Team D is being built to deal with said Vipers, but for the time being, it does look like it has stopped the soon-to-be death of that Otham. Why are you pinging nothing the whole time? Says it's not me. Don't know what that's in reference to. Team 1, what are you up to in the back line? New Euthotha, 3 more coming online after that. Maybe artillery piece. Fat Boy online for Team 1's. Hannah below. Nothing big ticket item yet here for Team 1. I'm kind of surprised with the... Oh, I guess Team 2 has caught up considerably, to be fair. But when they had a lead, I'm surprised they didn't go for anything longer range. Oh, okay. I can just shove my words right back down my throat because I didn't even notice the big, giant, glowing emissary that's online. So first T3 artillery that I have noticed is online. Team 2, do you have a counter? No, you do not, and you don't have a lot of shielding anywhere. Secondary air grid is coming online. Love to see the decentralization of that, but that emissary will rip that thing apart very quickly. It doesn't have shielding, that air grid, so not good, but it does look... yeah, it is targeting the air grid. That's the only thing that far over. It would be closer to the ground if it was going for Sailor Moon's base. First artillery strike will do a thing. It does not do a thing, but I would assume that soon that will hit something. We are seeing the full T3 Pigeon encircleization encapsulation of the emissary, but I'm assuming it's going to be done after the Galactic Colossus is built. And there is a Duke started for Team 1. Down below, it's already a 25% of the way there. Monkeyloid in the water. Again, Fat Boy and Euthotha. Are those TAC missiles? Those are TAC missiles inbound from Sailor Moon. Does not seem like you can hit all the way across the map like that, but apparently you can. Yeah, look at that. You can barely clip Hannibal's base, and if they were in the middle of the map, they could definitely clip that rest of that base. Artillery is striking the air grid. T3 area quarters is fine for now, but we do see a disruptor T4 artillery piece has been thought about at least. Ooh, that's going to hurt. There goes a chunk of the air grid. A couple of pigeons survive. Luckily, though, there is no any cascading happening for the air grid, considering there's no pigeons next to it now. But I don't really like the placement because it doesn't look like you can build anything right there, so you lose out on a T3 pigeon. Less cascadable and, you know, volatile and whatnot, but fire rate goes down a tiny smidgen. Well, it doesn't go down. It doesn't go as high as it could if a T3 pigeon was there. We do see Fat Boys inbound, trying to face one another. Team 2 has caught up to the wreck that was once a Fat Boy. Team 2 has scooped up that wreck from a chicken. There's that second chicken wreck there. And in terms of reclaim on the map, 163,000 total reclaim for the map. Team 2, wow, 100,000. Team 1 only 50. So Team 2 doubling Team 1's total, and that does help a little bit. Oh, okay, now Team 2's back down to less than 1,000 mass per second. Is there a power outage? Is that what's going on? Not a little bit for Sailor Moon, but I don't know why it jumped that quick. Maybe it was reclaim related. That's the only thing I can think of that it would jump that high. Nuke is online, has been spotted by Team 1. Shielding is coming online, needs to get more of that thing because that's not good for the Nuke to die without firing at least one of them off. Artillery is now done for Hannibal. 37 minutes on the clock. Team 1 has 2 of them. Soon to be a third one for It's Not Me. SMD is loaded up to 3. Is there a backup SMD? No. So bad news. If that goes down, Team 1 maybe will lose due to a nuke. Team 2, I think all of their hopes are riding on maybe the nuke. And it doesn't have a lot of shielding, and there's 2 artillery pieces online, so probably need to build more of those. Shielding and everything else. Speaking of which, in terms of building stuff, Team 1 has 2 chickens and a FAF warrior coming down the center line here. We do see a crab is starting to thwart the incoming advance. But again, I just don't think Team 2 has enough online. Not SMDs, but Nuke is unshielded. Ooh, some of the engineers died. They need more pigeons. They need more energy. Not more energy. They need more shielding. It's not looking too good shielding. Oh, that one popped back online. Oh, it's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. A couple of Optims to the west. That's not really going to do anything because of the Ravagers that are there. But I do like the trying to attack on all friends situation. We do see the crab targeting the wrong chicken because that chicken has already been dealt to 25% of its HP. That one is now in the yellow, but I think that chicken could have been killed off maybe before the chickens tried to give it a hug. And that's not good for Team 2's life in the land department. Another crab is underway here for Eco Player. The SMD, I guess, is being targeted by the Duke, which that's not great if Team 1 has their own nuke. Chicken is dead. A little bit of crash damage will kill some of the hit points. And with the second Megawatt now online, Team 2 is slightly protected on the land situation. It does look like they're going to fall back and try to deal with that annoying little fire base there for Eco Player. Monkey in the water. Team 1 essentially paying attention to this. There is that. Why is there a GC in the corner of the map doing nothing? Why are you there? Don't know why he's there, but he's there for some reason. Maybe like ambush? Couple of solaces. It's more than just a couple. If Team 1 spots the comm of Sailor Moon, they probably will go after him. I don't think they found him. No, they didn't find him, so they're not going to go after him. I mean, maybe the engineer's stacking up. Maybe we'll give them a clue, but not entirely a 100% guarantee, essentially. And they can't target anything because they can't see anything under there anyway. The chickens storming the front gates here for Eco Player. And the Optims and Purses will do the rest of the damage. The crab is inbound, though. So as much as they want to take out this position, which they are going to do in about a couple seconds, Team 2 will probably retain control. But there's a lot more T3 units and another Yothotha online moving in to intercept. Nuke is somehow still alive. SMD is still alive. Looks, I don't know why they were targeting the SMD. I feel like the Nuke is the bigger threat. Team 1's Hannibal did go for a secondary SMD. Love to see that. And that artillery piece is almost done. Number 3 is almost done for Team 1. It looks like the monkey lid has emerged from the water. All those solaces are now null and void. We're going after said monkey lid. And now we have the land invasion. Once again, it is it's a D-Day number 2, I guess. The target is probably going to be the artillery piece. They probably want the SMD. There is a Yothotha online. There is a FAF boy online. And the monkey lid will probably get some veterancy before it dies off. There is some T3 Ravagers being built, a couple of T2 artillery, and there are, there are those to consider as well. Strat Bombers are going to rip that thing apart goodbye, and there goes that land invasion right back into the water. Nuke is outbound, and did they space it correctly? This is the thing I was noting. Ooh. Oh, I think they put it right here. Oh, that's unfortunate. That Nuke is going to be shot down, most likely. We got to watch it. Artillery, again, probably going after that nuke, at least you would assume. And no, they edged it quite nicely. I thought it was a little bit over to the west, but it was not. Here comes artillery. Kaboom! It is gone. Everything is dead. The chicken is dead. Maybe they should have waited a little bit for the Monkey Lord, but I mean, they do have the Solaces and the bomber, or they have the bombers to be fair, so that would have netted the same thing anyways. But the Salems do not make it back to land, back to water, at least most of them don't. And that GC will take a lot of damage. That is that GC that was stacked up there. Essentially didn't amount to a whole lot, but it did take out a couple more Salems, so that's something. Nice nuke from Team 2. It takes off a little bit of the artillery pressure. Just a little bit. Just a smidgen. Still annoying for Team 2. 154,000 mass with one nuke. Dang. That's what I have to say to that is dang. That's a lot of mass killed. That's more mass than I've seen game enders kill. Granted, not as much as you need to build one, but more than I have seen game enders kill. Looking at you, Scathis. Not trying to throw shade your way, but yeah. And I've seen Mavers and, you know, other stuff not doing a lot of mass killing. Of course, the Paragon doesn't kill mass directly. It kills mass indirectly with players building things that then kill stuff. So there is that, and it's really hard to keep track of everything that is built by a Paragon because unless they're maxing out the Paragon, which you can do, everything that is built is considered being built by the Paragon at that point. Or being, sorry, funded by the Paragon, not built by the Paragon. Imagine if a Paragon could build things. That would be nuts. There's a reason that thing does not have any engineering powers on board. But again, about a squadron of bombers, maybe a little bit more for It's Not Me at 14, has 250 ASF, so more than enough to have We Have Air. But it does look like Eco Player does have 146, so we do see that It's Not Me is in the air dominance, air supremacy stage. Not that we own air yet, but the bombers, both in the torpedo and the strap bomber range, are definitely concerning. They can maybe... Oh, yeah, both players for Team 2 are in the water. There are some Cormorant-class torpedo bombers online for Sailor Moon. Nobody's in the water for Team 1. Speaking of which, where are Team 1's moon? Well, there's one right there standing next to the SMD. And where is Hannibalo? Oh, he's right there. He is in the water. So somebody's in the water for Team 1. I was going to say somebody's got to be in the water at this point. So much reclaim to go after. Team 1 and Team 2 don't really need to worry about building more mexes. You should always build more mexes, to be fair. But, I mean, 330,000 mass on the field. Got a lot to scoop up. Team 1, 2 million mass accrued. Team 2, 1.75. And climbing, in terms of reclaim totals, Team 2 still in the lead, but it is not a doubling of Team 1's amount accrued or scooped up. We do see a Fat Boy peppering that megalith. That little crab, trying to give him some salt and pepper, make it nice and tasty for those engineers to consume and send back to their families. And nothing really online. It does look like the artillery was denied for Eco players, so that is unfortunate for them. And there goes that section of the air grid. Well, the air grid doesn't really exist now. Team 2 betting everything on nukes. Nuke to be specific. And yeah, 2 emissaries firing simultaneously. Not a good day for shielding. At least that amount of shielding. I just don't know if it's worth it to invest anything more in Navy. The second land invasion was not really successful. The first one I think was a tiny smidgen more, but the nuke did so much damage. It cut out a chunk of Team 1's income, though, to be fair. And on top of that, the secondary SMD is now all the way back here, but that is also loaded. And it covers the majority of Hannibalo's base. You essentially would have to strike right about there, and at that point you're clipping maybe these 2 mexes right here, and that's it. Joker pointing at something. I don't know what he's pointing at, but Zara has been started and is being built pretty quickly considering it's 0 speed. If Team 1 is building a Paragon somewhere, that would be just the ultimate. I completely cannot see things. You're really boring, so you're pinging that nothing says It's Not Me. Okay, that's what... I guess Joker's doing that. Strap bomber is inbound for the said nuke. There is not a lot of AA in the area, and there's enough. Oh, that's gonna hurt. The strap bombers are going to land. The artillery will take out some of the shielding. Ooh, is it gonna be enough? Oh, it's not enough. But maybe with the strap bombers damaging a decent amount of the shield's capacity, maybe it's enough to keep it offline. Ooh, TP shield trying to be spanned up as quickly as possible. It does cover that, and nuke will land over here. It does get edge nuke. Kaboom! Oh, it actually does kill more than I thought. Never mind. 5 mechs is dead here for Team 1. And at 46 minutes, 15 seconds on the clock, we not necessarily have a stalemate, but we have 2 artillery pieces and soon be Tsar. Team 2 has a nuke. And Team 1 and Team 2 are doing pretty good about not dying, but not killing one another yet. Third emissary, question mark? No. Okay, well, no third emissary for Team 1. Team 2 starting an artillery piece. I don't know. Well, first you need shields. You got to build that first. Second of all, I feel like the SMD is not SMD. I keep saying SMD. The SML, strategic missile launcher. Ooh, just gets wiped out by fairly fine point or finely accurate artillery pieces. I was literally looking at it and went, oh, that died. That's awkward. Anyway, well, Team 2 now has nothing in terms of long-range tech. Team 1 has 2 artillery pieces. So what does Team 2 do now? That is the question. Lots of mess being donated over to It's Not Me to finish that Tsar. Land invasion to the west. Maybe another naval invasion to the east. Artillery now striking the T2 naval headquarters for Salem Moon. And it will die. Literally will finish a siren as its last item off of the assembly line there. Ooh, we have Solace's inbound. And Team 2 decides to recall. Yeah, it just wasn't really going Team 2's way once the nuke was dead. That's really all they had left. I mean, they did just start an artillery piece, but you're fighting 2v1, maybe 3v1 here shortly if Team 1 decided to build a third one. But, I mean, with the Tsar built, that's going to be a huge distraction. Even if they didn't take out the nuke there, it could have just crashed land on it and killed it that way. So it was partially the eco situation for Team 1, and partially just Team 2 just did not have much set up besides the nuke to really fight back. Especially with 2 chickens and a fat boy inbound. That crab I think that crab just died. I think it was that crab. It was one fat boy. Second one was almost done, so that would have helped a little bit, but either the Solaces want to kill everything in the naval department and maybe find Sailor Moon, and then that whole front would have been eliminated, and then just the land situation to deal with. It just wasn't really a good situation overall for anybody for Team 2 to really fight back in any meaningful way after the nuke was dead. But that's just how the game goes so far. 47 minutes, 40 minutes on the clock. Team 1's MVP for me, I don't always like to give it to he built artillery, and that's essentially the thing that won the game. I mean, it did help. It helped a lot, to be fair. It took out the nuke. The land invasion, again, was definitely a back and forth. There really was no winner overall. Again, granted, with the map the way it is, kind of hard to win or keep land. Well, actually, it was pretty... Team 2 did keep land a little bit here, and Team 1 did keep it a little bit in the beginning. But anyway. Yeah, it's just... Land wasn't as important, of course, as the game went on. It was more the longer range tech. So maybe I'll give it to It's Not Me. Again, he did get a ton of ASFs, which I am a little bit surprised he didn't use that more to his advantage. He did use some strat bombers, but didn't use them that much. He had some gunships stacked up, but maybe those for defensive purposes, maybe. He had Solaces, but didn't use them that much. He had T2 skimmers, but didn't use that much. So I just don't... I don't know. It was just... He was doing good things. I just feel like he could have done good things a little bit more. But that's my opinion on that. Let me know yours down in the bottom, down in the comments below the video. Thanks so much for watching to the end of the video. My little ramblings at the end, of course. And as always, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already, because why not at 40 plus minutes of watching this video. And I will see all of you in the next one.